Now we're going to go over some assembly tips on the WBE 4100, then we'll set it up, run through calibration, and a brief operation. Now we've taken the box off, let's unwrap the balancer, lay out the various parts, and then we'll start assembling. All of your bolts and items needed for assembly will be in this box. These are two mounting points that go on the balancer. They're handy for hanging the width calipers. Taking the balancer off of the pallet requires a 19mm or 3/4mm wrench. As you see, we've compressed time a little bit. We've already removed the balancer from the pallet and gotten everything ready to do the final assembly. Next thing you want to do is install your shaft. This shaft you want to clean, make sure there are no grease, no debris. The seating inside this shaft, clean, make sure there's no debris, no extra grease. When you put these on, it does not have to mate up on both sides. These screws are just there to keep this from spinning. It does not have to mate up tight. Go in with your Allen. And then 2 or 3 taps with your hand. No need to use a hammer or heavy device on this, only your hand. Once your shaft's on, we'll mount the hood brace. 4 bolts, just like these. They're 6mm Allens. I have the hood support mounted with the 4 bolts in back. Now we'll mount the hood. All right, now we have the hood mounted, the shaft mounted, and we're basically ready to balance, except we need to make some setup changes in the balancer. All balancers are shipped to us set up in grams instead of ounces, and we need to change the tolerance. So the first thing we're going to do is go into the menu and we're going to change it from grams to ounces. You do that by holding the menu key, the button with the 2 gears, hold that down until you see SET, release. You see TOL. Using the menu key, we're going to scroll through until we see unbalance. Unbalance, it's in grams. Now we need to change this to ounces. We do it with these plus or minus keys. Now we're in ounces. We're going to go back through the menu till the end with the menu key. This balancer has 2 types of memory, a permanent memory and a temporary memory. If you make a change and you exit with the stop key, that change will be in temporary memory. It'll stay there until the balancer cycled on and off with the power key. If you exit the menu via the menu key, the change will be saved in permanent memory no matter how many times you turn the balancer on or off. So now we have the balancer in ounces. We need to now go in and change the round off tolerance. SET, TOL is set to 0.15. We need to change this to 0.3 using the plus key. So now anything below 0.3 ounces we'll see as a quarter. Exit the menu with the menu key. And now the balancer is ready to be calibrated and then used. Now we'll enter the calibration menu by using the menu key. Depress the menu key until you see CAL in the left-hand window. Then you press the millimeter inch button within 1.5 seconds. C1 is calibration of the bare shaft. Nothing on the shaft. With it on C1, we'll close the hood and let the balancer spin. Now we're in C2. Raise the hood. We'll mount a wheel and enter our dimensions. Find a cone that fits in the wheel. Put the cone on the shaft, then the wheel, then the wing nut. We always back cone, so the cone always goes on first. For calibration, we'll use a standard sized wheel. In this instance, it's a 17-inch diameter wheel with a standard tire on it. We would like you to use a wheel that is a minimum of 7 inches wide. You could use a 14 by 7, 15 by 7, 16 by 7. The only prerequisite is that it allows you to hammer on weights on both sides. You cannot calibrate with stick-on weights. We have the wheel mounted. Now we need to enter our dimensions. The first dimension will be distance from the machine to the wheel. Our distance gauge, we always measure from the flat of the gauge to the flat of the wheel. Read our number. This one is 41. So we'll go to our distance button and we'll input 41. Next is our diameter. You can get that from the sidewall of the tire. This one is a 17. And then our width. We measure the width from flat to flat with the caliper. This one is a 7.5 inch wide wheel. So we'll go to our width and enter 7.5. With our dimensions inside the balancer, we'll close the hood and let it spin. When the balancer stops, lift the hood. Now it's telling us to place a 60-gram weight on the inside of the wheel. The balancer is shipped with a 60-gram calibration weight. You may use this, or you may use a heavier weight from your stock. I prefer a heavier weight. In this instance, it's a 3 ounce or an 85 gram. You could use something in between a 3.5 to the 60-gram weight. We want to change, if you use a weight of different size than the calibration weight shipped, you need to input that size into the balancer. So we're going to plus this until we get to 85. Now we'll apply this weight anywhere on the inside of the wheel. Close the hood, let it spin. Once the wheel stops, lift your hood. Find your calibration weight. Now we're going to remove it from this side and place it directly on the other side. Moving straight across the tire. Now close the hood and let it spin. Once the wheel stops, lift the hood. This is the most important portion of the calibration. Take the tire, rotating the tire until the calibration weight is at 6 o'clock. Verify the position. Once the position at 6 o'clock is verified, press the spoke button that has the 2 lights lit. Do not worry about the different numbers in the right-hand block. Those are just position numbers and have nothing to do with calibration. Press the split spoke program button. We've now calibrated the balancer. It's just as important for you to know how to do an accuracy check with your wheel balancer as it is to calibrate it. You will perform an accuracy check more often than you will an actual calibration. The way you do that is mount a wheel, enter your dimensions, balance that wheel as close to 0 as possible. So let's run through a balancing sequence with this using clip weights and balance this wheel to 0. Now we have an imbalance of 1 ounce and ½ ounce on this tire. Watching our indicator here, we'll move the tire until we get the light green in the middle. We'll apply our ½ ounce weight at 12 o'clock. This side, we'll move the tire down until our light's green, and we'll apply the 1 ounce weight at 12 o'clock. Now we'll close the hood and have another run. When the wheel's stopped, lift your hood. We have zeros on the screen. Using the stop key or the red key on the keyboard, that gives us our fine balance. So we have 0.1 ounces on this side and 0.15 ounces left on this side. So that's a very good balance. To do a balancing accuracy check now, we have a wheel balanced to 0. We want to add a known test weight. In this instance, we're going to add 3 ounces. You can use this test on any brand of balancer. If there's already a weight on the wheel, I'll put my test weight at 90 degrees approximately from that weight. We're going to have another spin. This time what we're looking for is for it to tell us to add 3 ounces to the side we added the weight to. So we have that. It's asking for 3 ounces. It didn't change or add any weight on the other side, which is good. Now let us go and see where it wants the weight. Again, we're looking for our green light. And our test weight should be at 6 o'clock, which it is. So this side tests out very well. Now we'll move the weight across to the other side and check the other side. Again, place our test weight at 90 degrees if there's already a weight on. Close our hood. So again, we have a good result. We have 3 ounces here, no bleed over on the other side, and it's asking for a weight 180 degrees opposite our test weight. If your balancer is doing this, the balancer is balancing all it can do. This is as good a balance as any balancer can give. And again, you can use this test on any brand of balancer. So again, let's run through entering dimensions for a clip weight balance. We want to pull the distance gauge out, and again, we always go flat to flat when we're using clip weights. So we'll take the flat of the gauge to the flat of the wheel, and we'll read our number off of the yellow tape here. It's 41. We'll input our number on the screen. We have DSE for distance, 41. Our diameter we read from the sidewall of the tire, 17 on this. And then our width we get from measuring with the calipers flat to flat, and we input our width into the machine. And those were the 3 measurements we need for clip balance. Now let me show you how to balance with stick-on weights. Also, let me show you the different balancing modes that we offer in this balancer. When you turn it on, it wakes up in hammer-on or clip mode. There are many other modes in this balancer that you will not use in the normal American balancing. You change the modes by this button with the different weight positions on it. Each time you press it, it changes the position to a different location. This mode you will not use. This mode you will. This is stick-on. We'll come back to that mode in just a moment. Here's a clip-on, stick-on mode. You'll use that on a lot of wheels nowadays as well. This is clip-on, stick-on on the outside. This is another one that you will not use. Again, this is another one, odds are, that you will not use. And this is a static mode, but this is a static mode with a hammer-on weight in this position. I would suggest you not use that balance mode, that if you're balancing statically, that you go inside to this mode, which is a stick-on weight in the center of the wheel. That's the best mode to use for static balancing. If you ever see a light on under the PAX or beside the PAX mode, that light means that that's for a PAX wheel. There are 2 PAX modes, and we never use those modes while we're balancing tires unless it is a PAX wheel. So PAX mode, and then back to hammer-on mode. So those are the different balancing modes, and in those modes there are really only 4 that you're going to use on a regular basis. So let's go back to stick-on mode, and I'll explain to you how to do that. This balancer, since it is a manual distance and diameter entry machine, all weights go at 12 o'clock. So our hammer-on weights go at 12 o'clock, and our stick-on weights always go at 12 o'clock. When you're using stick-on weights, the first thing you do is measure to the first position using this gauge, and you enter your dimension. This one is 90, so we would hit this button and we would change this to 90. To set the inside weight, we would use this one, and the way you use this, you loosen this gauge, put this flat to flat on the side of the wheel, and then you insert this inside the wheel to where you're going to apply the weight on the inside. Then you tighten your thumb screw, pull it out. This number now becomes our width measurement in this mode. So this is 168. So we would go to our width, and we're going to enter 168. From that point, we can now use this gauge to apply our weight after we spin. So we've got our distance, our width, and our diameter entered. Let's give it a spin and see what we find. So now we have 3/4 ounce on this side, a 1/2 ounce on the inside. Again, we apply these weights at 12 o'clock, so we're going to roll the wheel until our green light comes on. With our green light on, we'll apply the weight directly at 12 o'clock. So that's 3/4 ounce. This side is a 1/2 ounce. So now we can use our gauge, place the 1/2 ounce inside the gauge. We'll insert it at 12 o'clock. There is a button on the back side. Once you get it in place, you can depress the button and that will lift the weight out of the holder. And install our weight. Let's give it another spin and see what happens. Zeros, zeros. It's exactly what we want. There's another mode, hidden weight mode, that allows us to take a weight that may wind up between two spokes and we can hide it behind the spokes so the owner of the vehicle cannot see it. To enter in that mode, we hit the split weight button on the screen. Now we enter in the number of spokes on the wheel. This wheel we have has 5 spokes, so we want this number to be 5. We change that with the plus or the minus key to whichever number of spokes the wheel has. At this point, we'll take any one spoke, place it at 12 o'clock. With that spoke at 12 o'clock, we then again hit the split spoke mode button. Now we have that weight divided between 2 spokes. It's asking for a 1/2 ounce behind this spoke that's at 12 o'clock. And nothing here, but if we go to the fine mode, it's asking for a 1/4 ounce behind this spoke. That way we're able to split the weights, hide them behind the spokes, and the owner of the vehicle cannot see any weights applied to the inside of his wheel. That concludes the operational portion of this instruction. This is an excellent balancer. It does have a max shaft weight of 143 pounds. And if you're planning on doing 3/4 ton and 1 ton vehicles, there is an optional dually adapter that may be purchased. It includes 2 cones, a small light truck cone and a double-sided cone with a spacer. This kit is needed to do any 3/4 ton truck on up through 1 ton. We'd like to thank you for your purchase of the Bosch Easy Combo, and we appreciate your business. Thank you.